I stopped answering my mother's calls after the third voicemail about Emily's special gift from God. That was 6 months ago. I was 26 years old, working full time at a tech firm while finishing my MBA at night, living in a studio apartment in Koreatown that I paid for entirely on my own. My parents lived in a cramped two-bedroom house in Van Nuys with Emily, their golden child, their precious baby who could do no wrong. The morning everything started, I was reviewing quarterly reports when my phone buzzed. Mom's name flashed across the screen. I let it go to voicemail. 2 minutes later, she called again. Then again. On the fourth call, I answered. Mom's voice came through sharp and accusing. Rachel, finally. Your sister needs you to come by tonight. It's important. I have class tonight, Mom. Skip it. Family comes first. I pressed my fingers against my temple, feeling the headache starting. What does she need? She wants to show you something. Something amazing. There was genuine excitement in her voice now. Emily's been blessed, Rachel. Truly blessed. Blessed how? You'll see tonight. Be here at 6. Don't be late. She hung up before I could refuse. I should have stayed home. I should have stood my ground. But 26 years of conditioning doesn't disappear overnight. 26 years of being told that being the older sister meant sacrificing everything, meant putting Emily first always, meant never saying no. So at 6 o'clock, I pulled up in front of the house I'd grown up in but never felt was home. Emily's white Audi sat in the driveway, the one Dad had bought her for her 21st birthday. My own car, a 10-year-old Honda Civic I'd saved 3 years to afford, looked pathetic next to it. When I'd turned 21, I'd gotten a card and a $50 check. When I'd asked Dad why the difference, he'd said Emily needed reliable transportation for her nail tech courses. I'd been driving an even older car then, working 2 jobs while finishing my undergraduate degree, but apparently my needs didn't qualify as needs. Mom opened the door before I could knock. Good, you're here. Come in, come in. Emily's in the living room. The house smelled like Mom's usual potpourri mixed with the chemical scent of nail products. Emily had taken over the spare bedroom as her practice studio, and the fumes had seeped into everything. Emily sat on the couch, her phone propped up on a ring light, filming herself. She was pretty in that effortless way that had always come naturally to her. Long dark hair, clear skin, delicate features. She wore designer clothes our parents bought her, claimed as business expenses for her Instagram presence. 22 years old with 12,000 followers, most of whom she'd probably bought. She spoke to the camera without looking up. Hold on, so as I was saying, this new top coat is literally everything. Link in bio, guys. Use my code for 15% off. She tapped her phone, ending the recording, then finally looked at me. Oh, you actually came. Mom said it was important. It is. She stood up, moving with the confidence of someone who'd never been told no, never been denied anything. She held out her hands, wiggling her fingers. Look, I looked. Her nails were immaculate as always, shaped into perfect almond points, painted in an ombre design that faded from deep purple to soft lavender. But on her right thumb, there was something else. A dark vertical line running from the cuticle to the tip, almost black against the polish. See it? She was practically glowing. It just appeared last week. I didn't paint it. It's natural. I felt something cold settle in my stomach. Emily, that's not, Mom interrupted, coming to stand beside Emily. It's a gift. The doctor said it's rare. A unique melanin pattern. Emily's special. What doctor? Emily waved her hand dismissively. Dr. Chen at the walk-in clinic. He said it's probably nothing, but it could be a unique pigmentation thing. I looked it up. Some people have naturally darker nail beds. It's like a birthmark. I stared at the line. Dark, vertical, irregular edges. Every medical article I'd ever read, every health awareness post I'd seen, flashed through my mind. Emily, you need to see a dermatologist, a real one, not a walk-in clinic. Her smile faded. Why? So they can tell me I'm dying or something? Dr. Chen said it's fine. Dr. Chen said it's probably nothing. That's not the same as fine. Dad's voice came from the doorway. I hadn't even heard him come in. Rachel, don't be dramatic. The doctor checked it. Emily's healthy. A walk-in clinic doctor who spent maybe 5 minutes looking at it is not a thorough examination. This could be serious. Emily rolled her eyes. Oh my God. You're so jealous. Jealous, yes. because for once something special is happening to me and you can't stand it. She turned to Mom. I told you she'd be like this. Mom's expression shifted into that familiar look of disappointment directed at me. Rachel, I thought you'd be happy for your sister. This is a blessing. Emily's going to use this in her nail art business. It's going to make her famous. Famous? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You want her to use a potential melanoma as a marketing gimmick? Emily laughed, but it sounded forced. Melanoma? It's not melanoma. You're being ridiculous. How do you know? Did you get a biopsy? I don't need a biopsy. It's just a line on my nail. I pulled out my phone, typing quickly. Look, just look at this. I held up the screen, showing her an article from the American Academy of Dermatology. Longitudinal melanonychia, dark vertical lines on nails. It says right here that while it can be benign, it can also be... Emily knocked my phone away. Stop it. You're just trying to scare me because you're jealous that I have something unique and beautiful, and you're just boring. Plain Rachel who works in an office. I'm trying to save your life. Mom's voice cut through the room. Enough. Rachel, I will not have you upsetting your sister like this. Emily is fine. The doctor said so. You need to stop spreading fear and negativity. I looked around the room. Dad wouldn't meet my eyes. Mom stood with her arm around Emily, protective, defensive. Emily had her phone out again, already dismissing me. Please. I said it quietly. Just get it checked, properly. If I'm wrong, I'll apologize. But if I'm right... Emily interrupted. You're not right. You're never right about anything except spreadsheets and boring stuff. This is my body, my career, my life. And I'm going to use this gift exactly how I want to. What do you mean, use it? She smiled, that triumphant smile she always got when she had a plan. The National Nail Art Competition is in 3 months. I'm going to create a whole collection based on my special mark. Natural beauty, nature's artwork, that kind of thing. It's going to be revolutionary. You're going to wait 3 months? Emily, if this is what I think it is, 3 months could... Could what? Kill me? She laughed. You sound insane. Honestly, Rachel, get help. I turned to my parents. Please, make her see a specialist. Dad cleared his throat. Rachel, honey, I think you're overreacting. Emily seems fine. She looks healthy. The doctor said it's probably just pigmentation. Probably. Yes, probably. That's good enough. It wasn't good enough. It would never be good enough. But I could see it in their faces. They'd already made up their minds. Emily was special, blessed, gifted. I was the jealous older sister trying to ruin her moment. I picked up my purse. I need to go. Mom's tone turned accusing again. Already? We were going to have dinner, celebrate Emily's opportunity. I have to study. You always have to study. Or work, or do something more important than family? I didn't answer. I just walked to the door. Emily's voice stopped me. Rachel. I turned. She was holding up her hand, the one with the dark line, showing it off like a trophy. When I win this competition, when I'm famous, don't come crying to me for help. I won't forget how you tried to ruin this for me. I left. In my car, I sat in the driveway for 10 minutes, crying. Not because of what Emily had said. I'd stopped caring about her opinions years ago. But because I knew, somewhere deep in my gut, that I was right, and they were going to let her die because they couldn't stand the thought that their perfect daughter might be anything less than perfect. 2 weeks later, Mom called again. Emily wanted to borrow $5,000 to expand her Instagram marketing campaign to really push the blessed by nature angle before the competition. I said no. Mom's voice was shrill. What do you mean? No, your sister needs this. She has a job. Let her use her own money. Her money is tied up in equipment and inventory. You have savings. You're always bragging about how responsible you are with money. I'm not bragging, and I'm not a bank. You're family. Family helps family. Then you help her. We're already paying for her business insurance and her car payment. Your father's hours got cut. We can't afford more right now. Of course. They couldn't afford to help Emily, but I was expected to step in. Just like I'd stepped in when they couldn't afford Emily's nail tech course. Just like I'd stepped in when they couldn't afford the deposit on her first studio space. Just like I'd always stepped in because being the responsible older daughter meant being the family ATM. No. I said it again. Rachel Ann Miller, you will help your sister. No, I won't. Not this time. I hung up. The voicemail started immediately. Mom crying about family loyalty. Dad's weak attempts at guilt tripping. Emily's furious rants about how I'd always been jealous, always tried to hold her back. I deleted them all. 1 month before the competition, Emily bought a nail salon. Used every penny my parents had, plus the money they pressured out of distant relatives, plus a predatory small business loan with a 23% interest rate. The salon was in South LA, in a strip mall next to a liquor store that got robbed twice a month. The previous owner had been desperate to sell, practically gave it away. Emily posted photos on Instagram calling it her empire, her dream come true. I knew it was a disaster. The location was terrible. The overhead costs would be crushing. She had no business plan, no experience running a company, just an Instagram following and an unearned confidence that the universe would provide. Mom called to tell me about the grand opening. You should come. Support your sister. I have plans. Cancel them. No. When did you become so selfish? I almost laughed. Selfish. 26 years of putting everyone else first. And the moment I set a boundary, I was selfish. I'm not coming, Mom. And I'm not giving Emily any more money. We didn't ask for money. You will. You always do. That's cruel, Rachel. Your sister is building something beautiful, and all you can do is tear her down. I'm not tearing her down. I'm just not propping her up anymore. The grand opening was a disaster. 3 customers the whole day. Emily blamed the weather, the location, the marketing, everything except her own terrible business decisions. 2 weeks later, she called me herself. I need $10,000. No. Rachel, please. The salon is struggling. I just need a loan to get through the slow season. You've been open less than a month. There is no slow season yet. You're just failing. You're such a bitch. Probably. But I'm a bitch with savings because I don't make stupid financial decisions. She hung up, then called back immediately. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. Please, Rachel. I'm desperate. Go to the bank. They won't give me another loan. Please. I'll pay you back. I promise. No. Her voice turned cold. Fine. When I make it big, you'll regret this. The competition was in Las Vegas. Emily posted constantly about her preparation, her designs, her revolutionary concept. The dark line on her nail had spread slightly, I noticed in her photos. Now there were 2 lines, then 3. I sent her one final text. Please see a doctor. Please. She blocked me. The competition results were posted online. Emily didn't even make it past the first round. The judges called her work derivative and lacking technical skill. One judge said her natural nail art concept felt gimmicky. The internet was less kind. Her Instagram became a target for mockery. Delusional nail girls started trending in the beauty community. People found her old posts about being blessed, about her unique gift, and tore them apart. She deleted her social media accounts within a week. That same week, she finally saw a specialist. The dark lines had spread to 4 nails now. The biopsy came back positive for subungual melanoma, stage 3. It had already metastasized. Mom called, crying, She needs surgery, chemotherapy. We don't have insurance that covers it all. Rachel, please, please help us. I stood in my apartment, looking out at the Los Angeles skyline, phone pressed to my ear. Rachel, did you hear me? Your sister is sick. Really sick. I heard you. We need money. A lot of money. The treatment could cost hundreds of thousands. The salon is failing. We're behind on the mortgage. Your father's hours are still cut. We have nothing. You have the salon. It's worthless. No one wants to buy it. Then you shouldn't have bought it in the first place. Rachel, please. This is your sister's life. I took a breath. I told her to see a doctor 6 months ago. I begged her. You all called me jealous. You said I was trying to ruin her blessing. We were wrong. We're sorry. Please, Rachel, please help us. No. The silence stretched out. What? I said no. I won't help. You can't be serious. Your sister could die. She could have lived if she'd listened to me. If any of you had listened to me. But you didn't. You chose to believe in her delusion because it was easier than facing reality. Rachel, for God's sake. How much did you spend on her car? On her courses? On her equipment? On that salon? How much of my childhood did you sacrifice to make sure Emily had everything she wanted? My voice was steady, calm. I'd practiced this moment in my head 100 times. How many of my birthdays did you forget because you were too busy planning Emily's parties? How many times did you tell me to be understanding, to be mature, to help out because Emily needed more? That's not fair. It's completely fair. You made your choice. You chose Emily over me every single day of my life. You taught me that my worth in this family was measured by how much I could sacrifice for her. So I did. For 26 years, I sacrificed, but I'm done now. You're going to let your sister die because you're holding a grudge? I'm not letting her die. Her own choices are letting her die. She chose not to see a doctor. She chose to spend money on a fantasy instead of her health. Those were her decisions. She's 22 years old. She's just a kid. I was working 2 jobs at 22 to pay for college because you couldn't help me. But Emily was too young to work while going to nail school, remember? She needed to focus on her dreams. Rachel, please. Sell the house, sell everything. Figure it out the way you made me figure everything out my whole life. I'm not your ATM anymore. I hung up. The calls didn't stop. They left voicemails, sent texts, showed up at my apartment building. I got a doorbell camera and stopped answering the door. I changed my number and only gave it to friends and my employer. Through mutual friends, I heard updates. Emily's treatment was brutal. The salon closed. My parents lost the house. They moved into a small apartment, drowning in debt, caring for a daughter whose Instagram fame had turned into internet infamy. People told me I was heartless. A few relatives reached out to lecture me about family duty. I listened politely, then explained that I'd given this family 26 years of duty, and they'd given me 26 years of being invisible. 6 months after I cut them off, I got a promotion at work. Senior analyst, significant pay raise, actual recognition for my work. I finished my MBA at the top of my class. I met someone. His name was David, and he was nothing like my family. He had boundaries. He respected my time. He thought my ambition was attractive, not something to be sacrificed for someone else's dreams. When I told him about Emily, about my parents, he listened without judgment. Then he said something that changed everything. You didn't push them into this, you just stopped pulling them out. That became my mantra, my truth. I didn't push them into the hole they were in. I just stopped pulling them out of holes they kept digging themselves. A year later, I married David in a small ceremony with friends. My parents weren't invited. Emily sent a message through a cousin. She wanted to come, wanted to apologize, wanted to make amends. I didn't respond. Her treatment had been partially successful. The cancer was in remission, but the damage to her hands meant she'd never do nail art again. The internet had moved on to new targets. She'd become just another cautionary tale. My mother-in-law asked me once if I felt guilty. We were having coffee, just the two of us, and she said it gently, carefully. Do you ever wonder if you should have helped? Every day. I admitted it. But then I remember that they had 6 months to listen to me. 6 months when it could have been caught early, treated successfully, cost a fraction of what it ended up costing. They chose not to listen because listening to me would have meant admitting Emily wasn't perfect, and they couldn't do that. That must have hurt. It did. It still does. But I learned something important. I can't save people who don't want to be saved, and I can't sacrifice my own life to fund someone else's delusions. She nodded, squeezed my hand. You made the right choice. I didn't know if it was right, but I knew it was mine. 2 years after I cut them off, I bought a house. 3 bedrooms in Pasadena with a yard and good schools nearby. David and I were talking about starting a family, a real family, the kind where children were valued equally, where love wasn't conditional on sacrifice. Sometimes I still thought about Emily, about the girl she could have been if our parents hadn't ruined her with their indulgence, about how different things might have been if they'd treated us both like people instead of roles to play. But mostly I thought about myself, about the woman I'd become once I stopped setting myself on fire to keep other people warm. I had a good life now, a career I'd built myself, a husband who saw me as a partner, not a resource, friends who respected my boundaries, a future that belonged to me. And somewhere in Van Nuys, in a cramped apartment they could barely afford, my family was dealing with the consequences of their own choices. I didn't push them into the darkness, I just stopped being their light, and I was finally at peace with that. The call came on a Tuesday. Unknown number, but I answered it anyway. Sometimes work called from different lines. Rachel, it's Dad. I should have hung up. But his voice sounded so old, so broken that I stayed on the line. Your mother's sick. Heart attack. She's in the hospital. I'm sorry to hear that. That's it? That's all you have to say? What do you want me to say, Dad? I want you to care. I want you to be here. I want you to be our daughter again. I looked around my living room. Wedding photos on the mantle, David's jacket on the back of the chair, a life I'd built from nothing, with no help from them. I am someone's daughter. I said it quietly. I'm just not yours anymore. You made sure of that. We made mistakes. You made choices. There's a difference. Please, Rachel, your mother keeps asking for you. She wants to apologize. Tell her I forgive her, but I won't be visiting. How can you be so cold? You taught me, Dad. Every time you chose Emily over me, every time you let Mom guilt me into sacrificing more, every time you stood by and did nothing while they used me as a bank account, you taught me how to be cold. You taught me how to protect myself. I'm just finally using those lessons. We're your family. No. I said it firmly. You are my family. Past tense. David is my family now. The children I'll have someday will be my family. People who choose me, who value me, who see me as more than a resource to be exploited, those are my family. He started crying. It was the first time I'd ever heard my father cry. I'm sorry. He said it through tears. I'm so sorry. I know. But sorry doesn't change anything. It doesn't give me back my childhood. It doesn't undo 26 years of being invisible. It just means you finally realized what you lost. What about Emily? Don't you want to know how she's doing? No, she asks about you. She wants to talk to you. I'm sure she does. But I don't want to talk to her. She's changed, Rachel. She's different now. Good for her. I hope she has a good life. I genuinely do. But it won't be a life that includes me. I hung up. David found me later, sitting on the back porch, watching the sunset. He sat down next to me, didn't say anything, just took my hand. My dad called. I know, I heard. Mom's in the hospital. Do you want to go? No. Okay, that was it. No judgment, no pressure, no guilt. Just acceptance. Am I a bad person? No. You're a person who learned to save herself when nobody else would. I leaned against him, feeling the weight of years finally lifting. I used to think that being a good daughter meant sacrificing everything. That love was measured in what you gave up. And now? Now I know that real love doesn't keep score. It doesn't demand sacrifice. It doesn't use guilt as currency. Your family taught you what not to do. Yeah. And now I get to build something better. We sat there as the sun went down, as the sky turned from orange to pink to purple. Somewhere in the city, my mother was in a hospital bed. My father was probably sitting beside her. Emily was dealing with her own consequences. But I was here, in my home, with my husband, living a life they'd tried to convince me I didn't deserve because I wasn't sacrificing enough. I'd stopped pulling them out of the holes they kept digging, and I'd finally climbed out of the hole they'd put me in. That wasn't cruelty. That was survival, and I had no regrets.